Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. You give and take away. You give and take away. My heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. You give and take away. You give and take away. You give and take away. My heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. You guys want to do more songs, or are we ready for the good part of the... All right, guys. Who's doing the introduction?
The name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. Mary. Where is Mary? Huh? Huh? Jan, come. I'm so proud to be among you. Would you please give us, introduce to us the speaker? I love to be with you, among you in this event, and I hope that we will have similar events and we will have similar discussions in our Sunday school. So from now on, be prepared for discussing these burning issues, and don't be afraid to reveal what is in your mind and give us a hint. How do you think and what's your reaction? Always, I'm so proud of you. And let me speak with you frankly that your generation is bold enough to reveal. So I hate to live a double life, to follow your moms and dads and to be nice in front of Abuna, and you have another life in front of the computer or in your school or with your classmate. I hate that. Please be sincere and tell us what do you think, how do you feel, what's your reaction to the most critical issues in your life, and we promise that we will try to find an answer together. And always our reference is the Bible and the wisdom which comes from God, and we will try to find solution together. And by the way, we are not here to pour some informations in your brain or to put you in the track or to force you to accept what you are not convinced. God forbid. We are here to let you be persuaded and to let you be convinced and to have the intention to love to follow the commandments of the Lord. You have to love to follow His commandments. It's not here that we know better than you and you have to follow us and you have to follow our ways. No. And by the way, again, let me be clear enough in this point. Our reference is not the culture. Our reference is the Bible and the church fathers. So don't imagine that, Abuna, you are Egyptian like mommy and daddy, so you will force us to follow their way. No, we will follow the way of the Lord. He is the only one who says, I am the way. Okay? So now, Jan, please give us an introduction about our honorable speaker.
We're very honored today to have Mr. Maqar Naguib with us from Queens. We were just chatting briefly earlier. He's born and raised in Queens, so you know, he knows the culture very well in terms of what's, you know, happening and how we're feeling and what's going on with us. He's been serving the high school youth for over 10 years. And he works in finance, so he knows a lot about money, which is also good to know as well. So maybe we can hit him up on that at the end of the lecture, but we'll see. But you know, we're really excited to have him here, and we're looking forward to hearing you know, what he has to say about purity and youth. And without further ado, Maqar.
Hey guys, how are you? Hey, good, good. Can you see my? I mean, you can see me, so you may not need me up there. But I want you to see the PowerPoint thing. So I'm super excited to be here with you. And as Jan said, my name is Maqar Naguib, and the reason why I'm excited, number one, is because I love you all very much, and number two is because this is such a great topic to talk about, and out of my love and all of our love for you guys and our shared love, we really want to make sure that you have complete access to greatness in your life according to God's plan, according to what God wants for you. And we don't want anything to get in the way. And as we'll see here, and I just want to give you some, just to set the stage. Sometimes when we go about this topic, about purity, about dating, about martyrdom, we're very negative, and you're like, I don't want to hear what they're going to say. They're going to say no and don't and no and don't, and then no, 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 and they're never going to say yes. They're going to say yes to praying the Agbeya and eating fool and all this stuff, but when it comes to anything else, they're just going to say no. So I do want us to have healthy boundaries and a healthy understanding of our sexuality and what it means to be attracted to people. What does it mean, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God, right? These are the words of Jesus. And I want you to enjoy the process of dating and the process of finding someone that you're going to marry and learning about yourself. And I also want you to enjoy the fact that God created a very special time in your life for that. And He's building you towards that. And I also want you to know that our church is not scared of this topic. We love this topic. We want to do it right, okay? We really want to do it right. But to do it right, you got to do the right thing. And you got to do the right thing at the right time. And that's what we're going to talk about. And I don't want you to leave here living and believing things because I said it or because Abuna said it. I want you to take the message and fit the message inside of your heart. Take the message and say, this message is not Maqar or Abuna's message. This message is now my message. I live according to this message because it's my message. It's in my heart. Jesus is a personal God, right? So we're going to talk about martyrdom, then purity, and then dating, okay? We're going to link all these three, God willing, okay? Can you see this? Oh, this is so good. All right, and feel free, guys, to interrupt me if you have any questions. Let's talk, you know? I mean, it's better to talk with each other than for me to just say things, okay? So what is a martyr? A martyr, the Greek word is martyrium, and a martyr is a witness, So, and what is a witness? Imagine, is anybody here a lawyer? Or you guys are too young to be lawyers. Was anybody related to a lawyer? And okay, so we have some lawyers here, right? And so the job of a witness, you take him up, right? I mean, if it gets to the time when you have to be in court, the witness gets up there on the stand, and the witness either gives evidence or is evidence of something, right? So the word witness comes from the word martyr in Greek. And it means that this person, when I look at that person, I see evidence of Christ, or I see evidence of purity, because that person is evidence, okay? Like you say, oh, sir, when at 5 o'clock at night and this car hit that car, what did you see exactly? Who came out of the car after those two cars hit? And the witness is going to say, I saw X, Y, Z. And the jury is going to say, oh, well, that's a witness. He just gave us some evidence. We have to take this into consideration, right? That's important. That's what you have to be in your life, a witness for what we're going to talk about. A martyr gave his life or her life for Christ's sake. A martyr, and this is a big one, is a martyr before they were martyred. A martyr is a martyr before they were martyred. Do you think that if somebody comes up to you and God forbid puts a gun to your head and says, do you believe in Jesus Christ? You're going to say, yeah, bro, I do. Do you think it's easy to do that? Do you think it's easy to do that if your whole life you've been saying no to Christ? If every time the church wants to give you a message or Christ is trying to tell you something, and you've been saying, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to. Thank you, Abuna, great to see you. I'm not going to do that. Thank you for this. I'm not going to do that either. And then someone comes up with a gun and says, do you believe in Jesus Christ? You're going to say, yeah, I believe in Jesus Christ. Yeah, definitely, all the time, every day, all day of my life, right? You think you're going to say that? No. A martyr is the person who reaches that point of dying or giving his life for Christ's sake. That person has been giving his life for Christ's sake every second of their lives. They face temptation. I will give my life for Christ's sake. Somebody asks them to do something wrong. I will give my life for Christ's sake. Then they come to the point when somebody has a gun or a sword or whatever it is, they're like, yes, I will give my life for Christ's sake. It's not a different answer than the one I've been giving my whole life, right? And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I want you to know, where is martyrdom in our lives today? You guys know what this picture is, right? This has been like all over Facebook, right? All over the news. These are our beloved, like glorious brothers who gave their lives for Christ's sake. We see it on the news and on Facebook. But not all of us can give our bodies to death. But we can die to the world and to ourselves every day. So, where is persecution today? From now on, I'm going to talk about persecution and purity, okay? I want you to know that your minds and your hearts and your bodies and your spirits are under persecution, okay? Is this clear? You guys are under persecution. You're under attack. Billboards. I'll give you just some stories, many stories. Number one, I used to live in Brazil. My friend over here knows that we hung out in Brazil a few times. I used to live in Brazil for 6 months, and I remember this, right? This was a few years ago. I didn't drive there. I was there for work. And I remember every time I'd get back from the airport, I'd be driving from the airport, and I'm just like, man, it's good to be back like at my apartment there, and I'm in a cab, and I'm just driving, and I'm like looking around, because it was only 6 months, so I was always trying to take the experience in all the time. And every time, for some reason, I would always forget and I would always fall. There was this huge billboard with a woman that wasn't dressed appropriately, right? And that, I didn't ask, I didn't say, oh, I hope there's a billboard up there with an inappropriate image. Did I say that? But I'm just going about my merry day, and bam, something happens right in front of me. I was under attack. I was under attack. Facebook, similar. I think we all know this, right? We all have this habit, and I hope some of us gave this up for Lent, where we just scroll up our news feed, right? Our thumbs are like so strong, right? You're just kind of, and you're like scrolling up, looking at everything, all these videos, and now the videos, you don't have to click on them to play, they just play, right? So you're going and your videos are playing, there's ads everywhere, and you're not looking for something bad, but you're under attack. Somebody's showing you an inappropriate image. Somebody's telling you, I know some article comes up, 6 ways to guarantee your dating, your boyfriend, whatever, will never cheat on you. Oh, that's so interesting. I love the number 6 and 6 ways of doing things. That's so simple. Click, right? And I click on it, right? Number 1, oh yeah, have sex. This is what it says. Have sex with your boyfriend on the first date. What? Like, what is going on? You're under attack, right? This is persecution, guys. It's not, so what if you give your flesh, right? But Jesus said, what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? And St. Paul says, for to me to live is Christ and to die is gain. That this flesh here, so what if someone takes this flesh? I don't fear someone who can take my skin or separate my spirit from my body, because God will connect that later in the resurrection. But I am worried about someone who's going to steal my relationship with God away from me. Someone who's going to come and wedge a message or inappropriate thinking in my relationship with God. And they will create an obstacle that I'll live with for years. And we're all going through this. Of course, guys, the movies, and I have one slide up here that I took from a series that I give to graduates and college students about dating when they need to think about it in the right way. And I have a slide here from that, and we'll get to that later. But one of the things that I have here too, one of the dating myths, is that people think the movies are like how dating works. Anybody here who's old enough to be in a relationship, they know that most of the time when you're like on a date with your wife or your husband or your spouse, whatever, or your fiance, there usually isn't music playing in the background, right? But when you're young and the only exposure you have to relationships is you're watching these movies, there will always be music playing in the background, right? It's like always the perfect time to be dating and to be in romance, and it's perfect. And everybody's always in the mood. And do you ever see a couple in the movies sitting down and talking about their budget? You ever see that? You ever see that? They're like, oh wait, okay, right now is not the time to make out. We actually have to sit down and calculate our budget, right? And of course all the viewers are like, oh, thank God, I love this scene when they calculate their budget, right? And there's music in the background, right? Does that happen in real life? You're under attack. The movies are telling you this is how dating works. This is how relationships are. Guys, most of the time there is no music, okay? You don't know how to do the budget thing, right? You don't know how sex works. You don't know. Right? And I'm not saying because there's anything wrong with you. I'm just saying we just need to learn over time. It just takes time. It's hard work. You have to be educated, right? But the problem is the world does not discriminate or does not distinguish between, oh, this person is of an appropriate age to learn this. This person is of that appropriate age. And I have, as the very last slide for today, I want to show you some things that researchers have said about your age and the things that you're going through. All of the great, great, great things that you're going through at your age that I'm so excited about. In any case, Satan is attacking you. Friends, of course, most friends are not going to say, well, I don't really think you should be, doing this right now because it's Lent, You're gonna look at your friend who says that. You're going to be like, all right, bro, just go in that corner. God's there too, And sometimes our family and sometimes the church is not encouraging us. Those shedding their blood for Christ's sake are not shedding their blood so that we can live for the world. They saw beyond this life. They saw someone, yes, go ahead. Yeah, I really think actually, and I put sometimes here because most of the time our church is giving us a wonderful message. But sometimes not the church, but some of the people in the church are giving us like bad messages, right? Like our friends, or maybe you have, I'm sure you don't have this in this parish, but like maybe a servant who doesn't know a lot about a certain topic and they're trying to teach you something and you don't know. That's why I'm being open with you guys, because I'm treating you guys as adults. The faith of Christ is not something that belongs to your servants. It belongs to you. So as you become a mature adult, you have to own the faith and say, okay, my Sunday school servant is going to teach me something. I have to ask questions. I better understand what they're saying so that I can make this faith a personal faith, right? So I want you to be able to say, oh, well, what this person just said doesn't seem like so right. And you ask the question, right? Isn't that great that you ask the question? Now you have an answer. Now you can leave with something. Now that question mark in your heart or in your mind is no longer there. Clear? Is this clear? So sometimes our family, like if you're, let's just say, I hope this is none of your families. Let's just say when your mom got upset, she threw a chair, She's like, I can't believe you got an A plus on that class. You should have gotten an A plus squared plus plus plus. And she throws the chair, right? And she's really angry. Or she slaps you, right? And you're growing up 15, 20 years. All you know about how to handle anger or manage your anger is that you throw chairs, right? That's what you know. And that's appropriate because it worked in your family, in your mind. So sometimes that's, and by the way, that's not right. I hope I didn't need to say that. But sometimes our family is not giving us an accurate message. Sometimes our families are pushing. I've seen young men and women struggle so much because their parents are like they're pressuring them so much to be in a relationship. And the boy or the girl, the young man, the young woman is like, it's not like, I'm not ready, I don't feel comfortable, I don't know about that person. I hear stories like at least 3 times a week from like a poor young woman or a young guy. I can't tell the stories because we're being recorded. But so, but the point is sometimes we get bad messages from the places that are supposed to be giving us the right messages. But as an adult, you guys should be able to think critically about your life. You have to personalize your relationship with God. The link between martyrdom and purity is that for us today, purity is the modern day martyrdom. Living a pure life is how you share in the martyrdom of these great saints and how you share in the death of Christ and his resurrection. Purity is the modern day martyrdom, and blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Those who have a pure heart are the ones who will see God. And I just want to give you 2 verses because from now on, I'm going to say some things and you're going to be like, oh, Maqar, I can't take that into my head. It's such a difficult message. And I want you to know, remember, the world is against you. You have been learning the opposite message for so many years, okay? Jesus said, these things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation. Jesus, he's guaranteeing you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. The world is against you. And we say this too at the end of every Catholic epistle in our liturgies. Do not love the world or the things in the world. The world is passing away and the lust of it, but he who does the will of God abides forever. So we're saying, do not love the world. The world is against you. It's giving you opposite messages. All right. What is purity? Can I get like 3 solid answers? If you don't feel like they're solid, just say them anyway. I trust you're going to give me good answers. What is purity? This is one of my non-rhetorical questions. So, you know what that means. Who said that? To be clean, very good, excellent. Innocent, very good, very good. Yes. To have self-control, very good, excellent. Okay, any more, like for extra credit? I got so excited. All right, not really. So what is purity? Okay, you guys are exactly right. I want to give you some examples. We all have water filters, right? Or we've seen what a water filter is, right? Those Brita filters, whatever else, the pure ones or whatever they are, right? What's the purpose of those things? What's the function that they perform? What do they do? Yeah. They take all the dirt from the water. So you pour water in it, and you have this thing that takes out the dirt, and at the bottom, after that process, that filtration process, you have what at the end? Great, pure water, right? I like that adjective, right? Pure water. You have pure water at the end of that process. You ever hear people talk about pure gold? If you have a pound of pure gold and a pound of impure gold, which one, or an ounce, which one's going to be worth more money, depending on the impurity? Yes. The pure one, right? The pure one is going to be worth more because in that same space, you have a complete amount of, it's completely full of real pure gold. The other one can have a little bit of dirt. So maybe of that pound, you can have like a few ounces or whatever, a few grams, whatever it is of like dirt, of whatever else, right? So pure, it means that it is only what it was intended to be. It's free from pollutants, right? Okay. Definition of purity means freedom from anything that debases, contaminates, or pollutes. And this is what we're going to focus on. Look at this picture here. This picture is, I don't know where it is, but it's not in New York or New Jersey. And it's these people in water, but people are throwing so much trash in the water, right? And now when you try to go to this body of water, you have to, like, to get to water, you have to get through all this trash, all these things that need to be cleaned up. Take this image and imagine you are this water. Imagine that this is what the world has been trying to do to you all these years. You watch a movie, there's music in the background, there's people having sex, there's people kissing. You look at this billboard, you scroll up your Facebook feed and everybody's doing this. You go to school and people tell you you're stupid or whatever they tell you. All these things are happening. They're just throwing more and more garbage, more and more and more. And they make you feel dirtier and shameful and guilty and less beautiful and less handsome and less pure and less holy. All these things are happening to you. And then some guy comes up to you and he says, hey, you look really nice today. You're like, me? I look nice? Me? Really? Wow, that's the first time I heard I look nice, like, in the last, 65 years. Like, my Facebook was telling me that there's no music in my life. Like, some other person called me fat. Some other person told me this. And you're telling me I look nice. You could have all of me. Like, I'm yours, you know? And then, some guy is like, going to school and some girl just, touches him the wrong way. And he's like, whoa, that felt great, and he wants to talk to the girl and whatever, right? So the world keeps polluting, and then you find one little itty teeny-weeny compliment, and you're so happy. And even though God is telling you, you're holy, you're great, I will wash you, I have already washed you, you're wonderful. And God who is perfect is saying this to you, and then you don't listen to any of that, and you take the little message from the person that doesn't care about you at all. What is purity? It's freedom. Purity in your life comes from two things, okay? Number one is growing in your relationship with Christ, and number two is avoiding anything that pollutes you. And that's what I want to focus on today, the second part, which is avoiding anything that pollutes you. And in the context of sexual purity and dating. Does anybody have any questions so far or any comments? Are you guys with me? You guys good? All right, good. Very good. So here, this is the slide I was telling you about. I took this out of a series that we give to graduates and people who are later in college to talk about how to date and what the purpose of it is and what should you be doing and what are the common issues that we face and how do we go around them and how do we make it a fun experience where we learn about ourselves. And one of the first slides that we go through is the twofold purpose of dating, okay? And I'm sharing this with you in high school because I want you to know that there's going to come a time when there's tons of things that are we're so excited about, okay? The first one obviously is finding a spouse. The reason why people date is to find the person they're going to marry, right? And to also become a person that's marryable, okay? Because it's not just one thing where you want to find someone to marry. You also have to be ready for marriage. You can't just look for the right person and not be the right person, right? As a great speaker, Abuna Anthony says that it's instead of just trying to find Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, be Mr. or Mrs. Right first. Instead of trying to find the one, be the one and find Christ first, right? You have to be great. And that's the second one, that in the process of dating, you learn about yourself. And that's something that we want to focus on. And I just want to give you examples, but we're not focusing on this. I don't want to spend so much time telling you about what's going to come in the future. I just want to protect the future for you by guarding the present. Learning about yourself. What are the things that you learn when the time comes to date? And some of these things you're going to be like, whoa, Maqar, I haven't thought about these things. And that's exactly right. Because you may have not thought about them at this stage in your life. Things that we say, what are the things you're looking for on your list? Or what is not on your list? What if you have premature emotional attachment? There are people, they didn't get a lot of affirmation when they were younger. Their parents, their friends, whatever, were so critical. And now, all of a sudden, they find someone liking them or saying something good about them, and they cling so hard emotionally. They're so attached, they're so clingy. Do you have that? Knowing what's out there. Some of us don't have experience. We don't know all the things that are out there, all the different qualities that we would enjoy and flourish in. Communication skills, dealing with conflict. There's so many different issues and things you have to face when someone is yelling at you or arguing with you or disagreeing with you? What are the different ways to respond to people? These are things you learn about. Discomfort with the opposite sex. If you've been getting like off messages, you know, like I remember when I was growing up, the message I was always getting was like, don't date, don't do this, don't do that. And I was like, I gotta do this right. I can't mess myself up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a girl. I can't talk to her, you know? And then like, so I was trying to be so like, you know, I became so rigid and so like, oh, I gotta be pure. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. All the time, right? And like, say Kyrie eleison's like out of my nose or whatever, right? And so, but then over time, and then the time comes and I'm in like college and like late college, grad school, and my parents are like, you know, like, what's going on? You know, what's happening with your life? You know, as if I'm like, I have no life right now, you know? And I'm like, you want me to talk to a girl? What's that? Like, what's a girl? You know? So I'm just joking around. But some of us, we don't know how to deal with each other, right? Like, if we teach you that the opposite sex is bad and you're like avoiding each other and you don't know how to develop healthy friendships with people of the opposite sex, when the time comes, you're not going to know what to do with each other. You're not going to know the differences about each other when you communicate and all these things. That's why we're so focused right now, at your age now, we want you to have a healthy understanding so you can have healthy friendships with the opposite sex. As opposed to, oh, that's a boy, I'm either going to date him or I'm going to like him, you know? Or that's a girl, like, I'm either going to fantasize about her, or I'm going to date her, or I'm going to make fun of her, or whatever, right? And that's sometimes how we have these inappropriate ideas. Philosophies about relationships and marriage, experiences and fears. These are things that happen later on that you're going to grow in over time. But why wait? Why wait? Okay, so I have 8 reasons why I really believe you should protect the time you have now to develop as a person. And so that when the time comes that you can do all those things that I just mentioned, that you're like in there and like ready, okay? That you are Mr. and Miss Right, okay? With me? Yes? 8 reasons? Yes? All right. Guys, if you disagree, you can take the pew that you're sitting on and throw it at me if you can. I promise I'll catch it. I'll throw it back. All right. Number 1, and we'll talk about this in a minute, is that whoever you're going to be going out with now during your teenage years is going to change. Both partners will change so much during the high school years. Is that clear? So you think you're going out with someone now? You think that's the person you're going to marry? No way, Jose. I don't know what the equivalent of that is in Egyptian, but no way, Fasolia. Like, you're not going to be dating that same person or marrying that same person. Even if it's the same body, that person is going to change so much during those years that when the time comes for you to get married, it's not going to be the same person. And you're going to change so much. You think you like someone who looks like this, who does that thing, who says that thing. That's not going to exist anymore. That's only going to exist for a short period of time. There is more opportunity to learn about yourself outside of a dating relationship than inside one. Right now, there is, like, imagine there's 70 more years of learning, okay? To get all those 70 years of learning, it's much better to use these years now outside of a dating relationship, and there will come a time when you will need to be in a relationship to continue growing as a person. Is that clear? The specific years in each person's life are very different, okay? God chooses those years for you, okay? And you have to do it with God in the process. You can't do it by yourself. But what I'm trying to tell you is that there's a time in your life where you will grow so much when you're not in a relationship. And there's a time when you will grow so much when you're in a relationship. Through that relationship, you will grow so much. If you mix those times up, if you speed up one time and shorten another, you're not going to get the full benefit of all the learning that you're going to do in your life. Is that clear? You guys get what I'm saying? All right. And right now, it's the outside of a dating relationship part, okay? I'm not saying don't be friends. Please be friends. Learn about each other. Be Christians. Be brothers and sisters. Pray for each other. Hang out in groups. Like, have a great time, right? But right now, it's not the time because you're going to miss out on all the things you're going to learn. You're much more likely to do something you will regret later. Let me just tell you some stories. I have a friend, she was dating some guy for 5 years, okay? On and off for like probably, I don't know, 10 to 15 times, on and off. Like everyone's saying, this is not gonna work out, don't do it, blah, blah, blah. Please don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, right? And then no one's listening to anybody here. Everybody's being so like, you know, gung-ho about getting through this relationship and making it happen. This person is married now to not that person, right? But they have these like experiences now that maybe they're not so happy about. Another person in high school, he was dating some girl, and everyone's like, dude, like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Like, you're too young, you're not compatible, you're just attracted to her. Like, what's going on? He's like, no, but look at that other couple over there. Like, they're the one in like 5,000 million bajillion couple that worked out. Like, you know, when they did that. So it's very likely that mine is going to work out. You know, so that's why I'm doing this. Right now, this guy is engaged to another girl, not the one that we tried to separate him from. But the problem is that they did things during those times with those people that they're not committed to, that they are regretting, that they wish they hadn't done. Okay? And you're much more likely, and especially when I show you the next slide, when I show you what you're growing in, you're going to find that right now, one of the things that's growing in you is your ability to control yourself. Your ability to control yourself without any like external stimuli or things motivating you. You're able to control yourself internally. Like you can stand on your own 2 feet and control yourself. That's something you're growing in now, right? But if somebody comes in with a relationship out of left field, you're going to be like, whoa, I'm not prepared for this. And then things could happen that you'll regret. It is almost certain, which I said, that you will not marry the person you date in high school. Like, all right, next. Like, I don't need to talk more about this. You're more likely to keep the friends you make during high school than the dates. That's another one. The thing is, when you're dating, like there's only 24 hours in a day, right? Does anybody have a different like amount of hours in a day? Just checking. All right. There's only 24 hours in a day. If you're going to spend a lot of those hours dating, because again, you don't have that control thing just yet, you're still growing in it, so you don't know how to manage the time, you don't know how to balance the responsibilities, all those things. So if there's only 24 hours in a day, and you want to spend an hour with your date, your boyfriend or girlfriend, you're not going to be spending that hour with your friends, right? Because it's the same hour. You can't do both at the same time. So unless you hang out all together, but then that's a little different too, because usually what I see and what I've experienced is when you're hanging out with your boyfriend or girlfriend in a group, it's usually like boyfriend and girlfriend here, like being all smoochy and stuff, and then, oh yeah, and now that we're all going to KFC or the Fool store, you know, or Tameya store, right? Whatever. So that amount of time, that amount of time that you're not spending with your friends, you're giving up those relationships that are very likely to stay with you later on in your life. Is that clear? All right. Next one is you're learning so much about love now. Can anybody tell me what love is? No? That's such a good answer. So that's deep. I should write that one down. No. So what? Can anybody tell me what love is? Yes. Okay, that's all right. That's good. That's not bad. I mean, it's good to know we're getting, you know, our information from like, you know, authoritative sources, the Disney movies. Yes. Okay, good, very good. What else? Loving yourself. I agree with that actually. I very much like love your neighbor as yourself, right? Very good. Yeah, I mean, you guys are getting there. You're on the right track, right? And you're still growing in that. And you're going to experience that, the difficulties of love. Love, even though what you said is right, it's not easy to, love is a choice. It's not this thing that just kind of, you fall into it. Like what we hear is fall in love, right? Like, oh, I'm just walking and I fell in love. It's so great. Like did you see me fall? It was so romantic, my fall, right? And now I fell in love, right? But that falling in love feeling is not 100% of what a relationship is. Sometimes it's a difficult choice to stay in love, right? When you're in the heat of an argument, when you're having a hard time. But you're growing in that now. And you're not going to be able to do it until you love yourself first, which you're also growing in now. Dating when you're not ready prevents you from growing in other important areas. We said this on the friendships part, but also it prevents you from like gaining your independence. It prevents you from learning about your weaknesses and your strengths. It prevents you from understanding like how you can go and succeed in the world independently. So because a lot of if during those years you're forcing, what's the word? Like you're melding yourself into a relationship, you start to grow in like this skewed way. And the last thing is that you're more likely to be ready to date sooner if you don't date now. Is that clear? All right, let me just say that one more time. So you're more likely to be ready much sooner if you don't date right now. But if you are dating now, you're very likely to be really ready much later. So some of the stories that I was telling you or that I have in mind, those people are like finally finding the people that they're ending up with much later in their lives. Because they have to like get out of that relationship, the one that isn't working out. They have to like figure themselves out. They have to redefine what they do in their lives and all this stuff. And then finally, like they're ready. And then by the grace of God, they meet the right person and they're ready to commit. All right. Oh, any questions about all this? This is like, you guys got to have questions, yeah. That's true, and you can't date someone if you don't live somewhere, right? So our friend, what's your name? Huh? Luke, that's a nice name. So Luke said that one crucial reason, which I just forgot to put up here, is that your parents are going to kick you out of the house if you date, right? So that's very important. Thank you, Luke. Next time you're going to give the talk. So, any more questions? Yeah. Yes, what's your name? Adil. That was the answer I was looking for. Adil said that one of the things about love is that you have to sacrifice. I was waiting for someone to say sacrifice. There were close answers, right? But I was waiting for that answer. That's perfect, right? But look at how hard it was for that to come out of this group. I was looking for it, but I didn't want any of the adults to answer either, like the people who are over 18. But so you're still learning about that. Excellent, Adil. Very good. What else? Any more questions or comments? Yes?
What is love to you?
To me personally? Yeah, definitely sacrifice. And it's friendship. It's really good friendship. It's unconditional. And definitely like some of the things you were saying, like in the Disney movies, like putting someone's needs before your own. And seeking to please the other person, like having that person's interests in mind. And it's also a commitment, because the thing about love is that what commitment is like, imagine you're running a race and you're like start to get really tired. Commitment is continuing. When like sometimes just for the sake of the commitment, you don't have those like tingly butterfly feelings in your ears or wherever you have them nowadays. So you don't have all those like romantic feelings, right? But sometimes love, which is a commitment and is a choice, that is what keeps the relationship going. Because you said, I entered a covenant with Christ to be faithful to this relationship. And so my love is a choice. So that my relationship will work out. I was talking to a friend of mine a few weeks ago, and like he was telling me about a marriage that wasn't working out very well. And it was a very like young marriage. Just like maybe it was less than a year old. And it was so bad. So many people were involved, so many fights, so many things. And I remember I went to go talk to that couple because I had a relationship with them where I could. And I said to them, your marriage will work out. Period. That's what I said. You see that? You see? You see what happens when I say the right thing? Huh? Eureka. No, so I said to them, and not because I'm like some, prophet or anything. I am confident in the faithfulness of God. Because this was not just two people entering into some agreement. It was a covenant with Christ himself. And so I said, your marriage will work out. And I looked them straight in the eye. And I was not going to budge from that. There's no, you think you're going to get divorced or you're going to do whatever you think you're going to do. Your marriage is going to work out. And that's love. And it is working out really well. You know, just a short amount of time after, by the grace of God. And their hard work. And so, do you want more answers, or is that enough for what love is? Can we get one more? 1, 2, 3, yeah.
What about, you know, you're faced with some situations where, you know, you're in the group, and this one girl or guy or whatever, you find you're clicking, and things are, you're feeling that this may be the woman that you want to marry, okay? But you know emotionally, financially, whatever, you're not ready. But you're kind of faced in that situation where, I'm looking at the top, phrase of the screen there, and it says, why wait? Maybe she's going to escape me, she's going to go for somebody else, but she's good, she's religious, she goes to Sunday school, yada, yada, yada. And I'm in that predicament where, I know it's too early to start a relationship with her, but it's not like I'm going, doing the American thing. It's in the church. I want to kind of commit, but at the same token, I am nowhere near the ability to commit because maybe I'm still in high school or whatever. I'm not, all the pieces of the puzzle aren't there, but it's still sort of, a semi-decent relationship.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I encourage healthy friendship, okay? I also want, something that I say to graduates too, is don't mistake qualities for the one, right? If you see great qualities in a person, just write those qualities down. Have a list. Say, I never realized how nice it is when a guy does this or a girl does that. Or I never realized how important it is for the person that I'm going to marry one day to do this. Actually, I'm going to write this down. I'm going to look for this in the person I end up with. And I'm also going to start to develop that in myself. Right? I want to grow in that same thing. But sometimes we see all these great qualities. And guys, of course you're going to see great qualities. You're all great people. Like, if you guys just look at each other, you're going to see great qualities. I mean, some of you haven't. But if you all look at each other, you're going to see great qualities. You're going to admire a lot of all of you, right? But in the end, you need to get all those, you need all the things to line up, all of them, for a relationship to actually work. Because you can have two great people who don't make a great match. One of them is not ready. One of them is ready, but they're missing this one thing there, or whatever it is. But I encourage friendship, guys. Continue to learn about each other, be friends, and also watch out for your weaknesses, right? I remember, guys, I've been through this, right? You're on the phone, it's like 11 million o'clock in the p.m., and you're like texting the girl like, hey, I was so smooth with the ladies. I said, hey, period, smiley face, and you do all these, you're just texting and you see the little typing thing back. She's typing, ooh, And then you do the Facebook thing and you write the message and it was read, active now, all these things, right? And we're all we're in love with love. We're not, sometimes it's not even we're in love with people. We're just in love with the feelings. It's and by the way, guys, you should know that your bodies, your heart, there's an autopilot mode, right? That's why we don't want you to get into these, and this is for adults too. We say this, we never stop saying this, talking about this, which is that there's something in our bodies and in our hearts where when certain things are activated, your mind isn't working anymore. If you put a man and a woman's body near each other for a certain amount of time in a certain context, it will be very hard for them to control themselves. If you start sweet talking each other so much, if you thought this guy was the ugliest guy ever, and you spend enough time hearing them compliments, and all these things, that ugliness isn't going to be so ugly anymore, right? You're going to be oh, he loves me so much, he this, he that, and he's so strong, and you're going to create all these things about him. And guys, the same thing with girls, right? We all do it. Because our hearts and our minds, God designed these capacities and these things to do. But the problem is we use those same facilities in the wrong context, right? For example, you can't walk into work if you have an office job like wearing like a basketball jersey and like tapping your boss on the backside, you know, like, yeah, good job on that conference call, you know. You can't do that. It's like taking something and taking it outside of the context where it should be. You're going to end up losing your job. And if you do it in dating, you're going to end up losing a lot more, right? We don't want you to lose those things. We want you to be great in both, right? In your teenage life, in your adult life, and all that stuff. All right, Luke. Oh. Why? Okay. It sounds like a very good question, but I think I'll understand it if I hear it. So, can you say it one more time?
So, if you need all of this for love, why is there like sciences that make people fall in love just with like questions and staring?
Oh,
It's like they have the sciences saying that if you ask a certain question, then
oh yeah. That's the thing, because what they're doing is playing on the autopilot stuff, right? But that's not the stuff that makes a relationship last. Because guys, look, let me tell you what marriage is like sometimes. You wake up, you go to work, you come back home, you're rushing to make dinner, and you go to sleep. That's like what marriage is like a lot of times, a lot of days, right? It's not like every day you walk into the house and there's like music and there's flowers and there's candles and there's a fresh dinner every day. Sometimes marriage is like, you know, it's great because of mature love. It's not great because of people are looking at each other the right way, like that, and she flicks her hair like into the ceiling and stuff. Like, it's not because of that. But attraction and the science of attraction, all that stuff and the art of just like, you know, being romantic with each other, there is much value in that. But again, we don't want you to just do only that when you're not ready to actually do the rest of it, which is the stuff you live with. You get what I'm saying? Like, we know you have that in you, and we want you to have that in you. It's normal to see a guy and a girl and to be attracted to each other. It's normal to have sexual desires, right? It's normal to want to get married. It's normal. It's fine. But the problem is that we take those same things and we start to do them right now. Like, we want to have sex right now when it's out of the appropriate time. So that's the problem. Yes.
I can't speak for myself because I'm in college, but I know people who are married now that started dating in high school. So obviously, high schoolers know that. So high schoolers are probably asking themselves, like, why can't I be like that, or why, you know? And I'm getting these questions myself. So how do you answer that?
Yeah, the answer is very simply, the chances are so small. The chances are so small. And don't mistake God's miracles and protection for like a standard of living, okay? God, like, any of us here who are like engaged or in a serious dating relationship, or I'm talking about at the right time, like adults here who are engaged or in a serious relationship or married, we have all made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. We've messed up, okay? But God has helped us through those things. But the point is that when I go into the relationship, I'm not saying, hey, I can't wait to mess up so God can fix it. I'm going into it seeking God, and when I make a mistake, as long as I'm with God, God will help me get through it, okay? So what we're observing is that we're using the example of such a small minority of people, right? A small minority of people, of these like success stories, who probably made many mistakes earlier on, and God helped them. And we want to hinge our whole dating and marriage and family on those few examples. Do you guys know like what that is? You guys know when they talk about, like, you know when we talk about evolution, and we're like, yeah, the chances of like this all of creation is happening spontaneously. You know when they say things like, the chances of that happening are the chances of a tornado going through a junkyard and building a plane? You guys know that? You guys ever heard something like that before? Like, they're just trying to say like the chances are so small of this happening. And then the question they ask, they say, are you going to hinge your eternal life on those chances? That's what they ask, right? And everyone's like, no, I'm not going to do that because the chances are so small, right? It's the same thing. The chances are so small that when you're in high school and you get into one of these relationships that it's going to work out. Let me say it the other way, because people are saying, Maqar, I've observed this 0.0001% of couples who date when they're in high school and they're married now. Okay, what if I tell you, well, you have also observed 99.99999% of those relationships that don't work out? What are you going to do? It's your life. You're an adult, or you're about to be. You're gonna risk having emotional scars. You're gonna risk doing something you're not gonna regret. You're gonna risk losing all those friendships or not growing in those friendships. You're gonna risk not having the independence. All those risks. You're gonna risk all those things on the 0.00001%. Guys, take what the qualities that person has, put them on your list. Trust in God. If He wants you to end up with that person, you're gonna end up with them, right? As long as you're seeking Him. Is that clear? Does that answer your question? And I really believe also that, I'm not here, guys, to, I can't force you to do anything, right? And I'm just sharing what I could share, and you make your own decisions, and we love you no matter what decisions you make, and God loves you, and there's no problem that God can't solve. But God also, out of His respect for you, lets you act on your free will, and He lets the consequences of those decisions happen. And it's not meant to scare us, but the consequences are not all that great if we make the wrong decisions. That's how life works. Are there any more questions? Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. All right. Is this good? Still good? All right. Are you guys tired? I think because the attention span of a high schooler is 0.00001 seconds. So, no, just kidding. It's worse for an adult. So, all right. So let me go to the next slide, and then, because this is the last slide, I just wanted to focus on some things. This is coming from the American something, CAP something. So I just know it starts with American because there's an A. But I put the source, the link down here, and you guys can have the slides later if you want. So what this is, I pretty much just copied and pasted the things that are developing in you at your age. So there's different stages of development. And I said, okay, I just looked up for a teenager, late teens, what are the things that are developing in you right now? These are all the things that are developing. And not all of them are just because they're developing doesn't mean it's healthy for it to just go randomly or spontaneously. They all have to be under control. But I have here, I put in orange the things that I want to focus on real quick. Firmer and more cohesive sense of identity. You know what I can do on this thing, guys? Watch this. Bam, you see that? You see how I circled that with, you see that? Round of applause. Round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And for that, this is what you get. Let me just do that one more time. All right, firmer and more cohesive sense of identity, right? So you're still figuring out who you actually are. What are you? Who are you? You're figuring that out right now. Examination of inner experiences. That means you have experiences, but sometimes when you're young, you don't think about them. You're just oh, that's another experience. That's interesting. But when you're older, you go and you're you sit on your bed and you're what just happened? Why did I do that? Why did those decisions happen? All that stuff. Increased ability for delayed gratification. Delayed gratification. You could say no to being gratified for a while. You could do that better as you progress through these years. Increased emotional stability. You could be all over the place emotionally. Increased concern for the future. Firmer sense of sexual identity. Increased capacity for tender and sensual love. You think you have a lot of capacity for tender and sensual love? Wait till the right time comes. And you're going to have much more, and it's going to be sanctified by God. Is that clear? It's going to be in the right context. It's going to be great. Greater capacity for setting goals, and increased emphasis on personal dignity and self-esteem, and that too. All right. So that's all I had, guys. Are there any more questions? There's a jar of questions. Okay. With God's help, I will be able to answer them, and I really encourage my co-servants, all of whom are more experienced than I am. Yeah, go ahead. Is the battery? Oh, guess what? Oh, yeah. Here. Good.
again, I know people who have been in relationships, and
My friend, you see, my friend, what happened to him was that, no.
yeah, pretty much. And he, fine, I'll use him as an example. I'm not gonna mention names.
Mina,
but
yeah.
Mina,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
Mina was in a relationship with a girl, and he heard lectures about, like relationships are not right, and he tells this girl, like, you know what, I know the time is not now, and it's not the right time, and I just want to be friends. But are you really, truly gonna be friends after that? Like, once you're in a relationship and you break up with that woman, like, are you really gonna tell yourself, like, it's okay, we're just gonna stay friends, or do you, in the back of your mind, you're just like, I hate that woman?
I hate, that's what you said? Hate? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, like you're saying, like if the relationship ends and we're encouraging you to be friends with each other. Guys, I prefer purity over friendship, okay? So if being friends is going to get in the way of you being pure, then you're not doing friendship the right way. And it's better to just put some healthy distance between each other, okay? Guys, being friends with each other does not mean like talk all the time, hang out one-on-one all the time. Remember, I told you about the autopilot stuff. This is for everybody. Even adults have it, right? It's just that the difference is that a lot of these adults, they're married. So the autopilot stuff is great for them, right? But for when you're not married, you have to put that under control. I'm not married. I have to control that stuff. And I'm 29 years old, right? And I still have to control it with God's help. So if you maintain the friendship, but you realize all the autopilot stuff keeps kicking in, and the romance is there, and the liking each other is there, and the physical stuff is there, just keep distance. That's okay. Totally fine. Remember, guys, all this stuff in a few years is going to be so small. All right. Okay. All right. What is one of the best ways to accomplishing purity and staying pure? Remember, we said there's two ways. The first way, which we didn't spend a lot of time about today, because that's the focus for another talk, I'm sure, is growing in your relationship with Christ. Purity does not equal no, okay? Purity equals Christ. Be with Christ and you will be pure. But to be with Christ, in addition to pursuing Him, you have to remove the obstacles. Today we talked about a specific obstacle that we want to remove from our relationship with Christ. And again, how am I going to be pure? I'm going to pray regularly. And I'm saying this to myself. How am I going to be pure? I'm going to pray regularly, every day. I'm going to read the Bible every day. I have to take communion. I have to hold myself accountable by going to confession. I have to surround myself with healthy people. I have to submit to the Word of God. I have to fast when the time comes for fasting, so that I can be able to delay gratification, so that I could imitate my Christ who fasted for us to save us, right? Because through the fasting of Christ, we gain salvation. So that's how I'm going to stay pure. By doing those things, by being in a pure place, by being with pure people, by eliminating the obstacles, that's how I'm going to be pure. There's no substitute for those things. No substitute. While I'm looking at these things, if anybody has anything they want to say or raise their hand, please let me know. How does the Coptic dating game work? I realize that sometimes when people answer questions like this, they read it before they say it. But if I say it right away, like I'm on the hook to answer it, right? So, how to distinguish between a great friend and a potential relationship leading to marriage? In terms of friendship, make sure to shake it. All right, good. In terms of friendship, where are boundaries drawn in order not to mislead the other person and give them the wrong idea? All right, how does the Coptic dating game work? All right, first of all, it's not a game, so it's a real experience, okay? It's a real getting to know myself, getting to know another person, and then figuring out what to do with what I learn, okay? So you're not going to be 100% ready to get married, but you need to be 100% ready to start dating. And then when you're 100% ready to start healthy dating, then through dating, you will become 100% ready to get married. And when you're 100% ready to get married, you're not going to be 100% ready for all the challenges you're going to face in your marriage. Through the marriage and through that process, God is sanctifying you, He's helping you, you're growing as a person, you're growing with each other, and you will be able to go through all the challenges of married and family life, right? So when can I start dating?
I have to resolve some internal issues. I have to be able to face myself. There are some specific issues, and like there's just so much of them that, like I have the materials, but it's just we don't have a lot of time. So, but there are some issues that you have to resolve before you start, and some of them you're going to resolve as you go on. Like some of the fears, some of the insecurities, some of the, like the new experiences that you're going to learn about and you're going to see. So, but the very simple thing is, dating is you're going to say, I'm going to figure out who this person is, and usually the way it works is that a guy like goes up to a girl and like they just start talking with each other, and there's some sort of like there's a clicking there, and they call it chemistry, right? It's a very mysterious thing. But the point is just they have a good flow, and the guy's not going to go up to her and say, hey, will you marry me, right? He's not even going to say, hey, will you pre-marry me, or whatever they're going to say, right? Will you be my courtship partner? It's not going to be like that, right? It's going to be something more like, hey, do you want to get a cup of coffee? Do you want to do you want to hang out sometime there? Whatever, right? And then they're just slowly developing a friendship, because the friendship is the foundation for a healthy marriage, okay? So they're going to have a friendship, and they're going to see if they enjoy being with each other. They're going to later on, they're going to have someone to hold them accountable. Of course, they'll be in touch with their own team. And this is a whole topic, like having your own team, having your gut, like senses, willing to be a little uncomfortable in some things. And so that's how it works. It works just like a regular relationship, but then you start thinking more about commitment. Yeah, the age is like I'm answering this question because I want you to know that the church has an answer for it. But the age for it is like, I think a healthy age to do it is a little bit like later on in college, right? So probably for girls, probably sophomore, junior year, that's probably like the earliest you can probably start. And I think for guys, it's more like junior, senior year. But of course, it depends on a lot of other things. Age, means a lot, but the age itself does not equal a certain maturity level. You could be 30 and not ready to date. I've seen guys that are 45, and may God protect all women, So, and there are women who are like, on paper, they're like great. They're like, they have everything, whatever, that any mother or father would want for their son. But then you actually talk to them, and next question. So, of course, yeah. No, high school, it's not okay to date. Yeah. I know we want that, like you really wanted me to say that, right? But guys, like I'm giving you, like that one sentence is not, like I'm saying the sentence and it's true and I firmly believe it, and it's the summary of everything I've been talking about. But I don't want you to leave here with just a rule in your mind. I want you to leave here with a plan for your life, and to know that God has something in store for you, and that by pursuing purity and pursuing His will, all these things will fall into place, because that's who our God is, okay? Is that clear? It's not just as simple as saying, don't date in high school. It's not like that, right? Because that's so negative. Like, then what are you going to do later? You know what I'm saying? But that is an answer, and that is true, Protect yourself.
But can you have a healthy relationship even like in high school?
Yeah, of course.
So like as dating?
No. I like when you guys laugh at my jokes. Huh? What was the question? Yeah, that's good. Better for you, actually. No, the question was, can you have a healthy relationship? And then I said yes. And then he said dating. And then I said no. Yeah. No, and again, because the thing is, to do something in a healthy way, you need to be prepared for it. You need to be in a place where you can do a healthy thing. That's why, for example, you don't take like little kids, like little babies when they're born, and feed them red meat, right? You can't, their bodies aren't ready for it. There's so much that they're not ready for. So we want you, but at the same time, those babies are growing at like I don't know, what is it, like £1 a week or something, like something ridiculous. Like something, they're just growing so much, like God forbid we grow as adults that fast. So, but those babies are growing so much. And we don't want to stunt their growth by forcing them or allowing them to do something that is not appropriate for the time. Because we want all the other growth to happen at a healthy way. And that's exactly why we're talking about this. That you're gonna like tie yourself up into this relationship, into this emotional and psychological and spiritual and physical dynamic that you're not ready to handle. You're not able to delay gratification. You're not able to just define what the goals are in your life. So all you have is the mushy autopilot stuff, and you're going to have that for the rest of your life in a healthy way. But then it's not going to end up well. Yeah.
I think most of our experiences in high school deal with trying to fit in with the group that we are in. How do I verbalize to my friends who might not have the same background? How do I verbalize to them my choice of not dating at a certain time? Repeat it? Okay. I think our experiences in high school focus around trying to fit into a particular group or just in general, in high school in general. If I've made the choice not to date during this time, how do I verbalize that to someone who might not necessarily have the same background? How do I withstand that peer pressure that's either explicitly or implicitly there in that culture that I have around me constantly in school?
Yeah, a few things. Number one, remember the world is against you, right? Not that your friends are out there to hurt you, but they're not with you, aligned with you in your calling for life just yet, right? We hope they all are, become. Number two is remember that you don't owe anyone an explanation, okay? It's not like you have to wait till you can adequately like convince the other person so that you can stop dating. You can stop dating and then figure out what you're going to say over time, right? But we don't want you to be like, oh, well, you know, I really don't know what to say and I don't have a good answer. I don't want them to make fun of me, so I'm just going to do it until I can find a way to keep them from making fun of me. And then now, what are some things you can say? You can say, you know, and just a third thing before what you can say is that surround yourself with a culture that is aligned with what Christ's calling is, right? Huh? Yeah, who want to eat tameya, like, and fasolia. Like, that's what you want to do. You want to surround yourself with people who are also in the same, like, direction of life as you are. It's not, guys, it's not easy to live a life where you have to say no to your friends all the time, right? There's a saying that you're the average of your closest 5 friends. So whatever those are, whatever they do, you're going to be that average. So you have to choose those 5 friends carefully, okay? What can you say? You can say, I don't believe in that. I have other things to focus on. I prefer to do other things. I don't think dating is going to be too fun right now. Or I don't want to. Practice saying the word no in your life. It's one of the most valuable words you have. And we can talk about some of the valuable words another time. But yeah, there was a question here. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
But can you have like a healthy relationship in dating? Okay. But like without like kissing or anything like that, and it would last?
Yeah, I mean, look, like, let me just be, because the thing is, I don't want to draw like such a clear line and say girls like, God, and kick them out and stuff, you know, I don't want to do that, right? Of course, in those healthy friendships, you're going to find attraction. And I don't want you to say attraction bad, I hate attraction. No. You can have attraction, but at the same time, don't start acting on it. So don't like all of a sudden allow your life to be consumed by this attraction. Like you have to be able to manage those feelings. And remember that those feelings are stronger than you are, and sometimes they're stronger than your mind, right? So what are we calling it then? A healthy relationship that's dating, but not kissing, but not talking all the time, not consuming your life, managing attraction. So are you even dating? So what are you, you're just kind of calling her your girlfriend and that's it? Like, or should you share your feelings with her? But you can share your feelings with a girl or a guy and it's a healthy friendship. It doesn't have to be called my boyfriend or girlfriend. The problem is once you label it, society has so many meanings for those labels. And society isn't going to encourage you to be on the conservative end of what that means. They're going to make you like go all out. They'll be like, oh, that's your girlfriend, bro? Yo, that's cool, man. Why don't you and your girlfriend come hang out with me and my girlfriend? And now you're like an item. And now you're together. And like society is encouraging you. Not because society hates you, but it doesn't have clear distinctions. So it's just going to keep moving you further and further, and then you're going to keep losing a little bit of self-control, losing a little more, and then you find yourself, you're like unhealthy dating. Yeah.
Do you think there's a distinction between a male and a female in high school, a friendship before it can be called unhealthy, even a normal friendship?
Yeah, if they're like pretty much dating.
No, before that. Like they think it's a friendship, but everyone else sees it as dating.
Oh yeah, but what I'm trying to say is like, the word dating doesn't make it dating. Like, what does that relationship mean to you? What are the feelings you have in your heart and in your body with that person? What is the nature of your interaction with each other? Just because you didn't call her your girlfriend doesn't mean she isn't your girlfriend. And just because you didn't call it dating doesn't mean you're not dating. You have to remember that I am pursuing purity. I am standing before God. He's the one who knows what's going on in my heart. So I'm going to have a healthy relationship with this person, so help me God. Right? Huh? Yes, I'm going to have boundaries, right? That's it. So if I find that I'm getting too sucked into the relationship because autopilot is kicking in, I'm going to have to step back. I'm going to have to cut some interaction off because I don't want to lose myself to all of this, right? It's autopilot, guys. And it's great. The autopilot is great at the right time. But at the wrong time, it's autopilot like right into a mountain, right? You're just going to crash. Yeah.
So what about people in high school right now? I don't need a mic. What about people who are in high school now, who are in relationships and got in it for whatever reason, whether they didn't really realize what they were getting into or there's some kind of immaturity they didn't realize was inside of them, and they want to pursue purity in a more sincere way, a more genuine way now. What's the proper way to get out of that relationship or trying to preserve, maybe not friendship so much as just like a Christ-like attitude towards a person, like not trying to make the other person hate them or other, like how to avoid all those devil's traps about staying in their relationship?
That's a great question because maybe some of you hear the actual concern, and because you're such great people, is like, I don't want to hurt this person. Like, I'm convinced with what you're saying, but I don't want to hurt this person if I tell them I have to break up, right? A few things. And by the way, that's such a great, like, I really respect that you have those feelings. There's a difference between hurting someone and harming someone, okay? There's a difference between hurting someone and harming someone. When you go in for surgery, the surgeon has to hurt you, but it's for your benefit. It's not to harm you, okay? So, and even St. John Chrysostom talks about this. He talks about that you go to the doctor and he has to make an incision, and his incision can't be too like shallow that it doesn't have any benefit. And it can't be too deep that it starts like really messing up with the person and cutting things you don't need to cut. It has to be right. So sometimes you might have to say to someone, hey, I don't think we should be in this relationship anymore. It's not healthy. But actually, you saying that might hurt them, and they're going to cry, and they're going to do this, and they might send you nasty text messages. But at the end, you should know that it's for your benefit and her benefit, or your benefit and his benefit. So the equivalent of cutting too shallow is saying, oh, okay, we're not going to call each other boyfriend and girlfriend, but everything else is the same. Right? Or cutting too deep is saying, you're so fat and ugly and I hate you and never, ever, I can't ever even believe what you did to me in my life. And then I don't want to be your boyfriend anymore. I don't want to be your girlfriend anymore, right? And then that's harming someone, right? You should just say, I don't think this is healthy. It's not something that I want to do for myself. Take responsibility for it. It's not about the other person. It's about you. I don't think that it's okay for me to be in a relationship. So, is that clear, guys? Okay. One here, and then one here, and then one here. Yeah.
I have a really close friend, and she goes to my school, and she recently started dating a boy that she's never met, and he's older, and, like, her mom knows, and her mom called me and asked me to, like, end it, but I don't know what to, like...
Yeah, that's called triangulation, by the way. So when, like, two people have a conflict, and they invite a third person to solve it for them. So... you know, you're not responsible for this. Let me just be clear. You're not responsible for anyone's decisions. You're responsible for your own. But you also you're responsible to that person by being pure and being Christ-like and being available to help them whenever you can. Like, you cannot, like, even, you can have a conversation with your friend and you can encourage them in a certain direction. But I don't want you to feel like you're obligated to change that problem. It wasn't your decision. And you can encourage them, you can talk with them about it, you can be a loving Christian. Definitely, please pray for them. You have to pray for them, okay? Definitely, you're responsible to do that. But you can't change those decisions, right? You're not gonna, guys, don't burden yourselves with too much. I can barely take care of my own life, right? Like, don't overburden yourselves like more than God equips you to do. And if God is the one who changes hearts, by the way. Like, I'm here giving this talk, right? But I'm gonna pray that God changes my heart and your hearts so that we can all be more pure. It's not about hearing a convincing talk. It's about, remember what we said in the beginning, that my heart has to internalize the message and be softened towards Christ. Okay, good, thanks. But I'm sure you're a great friend for even asking the question because you care. That's really good, thank you. There was, yeah.
You know, like Avram said with like how like you break up with someone and like just like how to like let them off, like real like misinterpretation, like suicidal thoughts from them, and then like just say in general like some, like God forbid they commit suicide, and just like how does that make you feel, and like in general.
No, definitely. I really thank you for asking the question, because some people wouldn't ask the question and be like, that's such a silly question, but it's not. It's a very serious question. You're not responsible, again, for anyone else's decisions. And I want you also to remember something. Maybe you let this person be your whole life, but that's not true. They're not your whole life. And maybe you believe that they let you become their whole life, but that's not true either. And if someone is thinking about committing suicide, first of all, you're not equipped to deal with that. You should report it to someone who can do something about it. Please, take this seriously. If someone is talking about committing suicide, you're not going to be able to help them. All right? The other thing, that's to help that person, because that's a serious thing if someone is talking about that. So talk to an adult, talk to a teacher, a counselor, a parent. Get that news to someone who can protect that person from something they could never reverse. Number two, though, in terms of your own feelings, if someone is willing to commit suicide because you broke up with them, that person is expressing to you years and years of unhealthy patterns that led them to a point where they can get into a relationship where if it ends, they'd be willing to commit suicide. There are married people here that if, God forbid, something happened to their marriage, they wouldn't commit suicide. Because they grew up in a healthy way. So if you're in a boyfriend-girlfriend, if you're dating someone and they're going to commit suicide, first of all, thank God that you got out of that relationship because they're unhealthily attached to you. And number two, it's not your fault. Like you did something wrong, I'm sure. Like we all do something wrong. We all contributed to the problem. And so did they. But we didn't bring them to a point where they should commit suicide. Nobody does that to anybody. The devil can't even make you commit suicide, right? And that's why we say suicide is wrong, right? Is that clear? So guys, don't get sucked in that much where they say, and because I've seen this happen so many times, how could you do this to me so many years? I shared so much, I said so much, I did so much, blah, 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 blah. All right, you did all that, and you contributed, and I contributed too. But that doesn't change it from being a wrong thing to a right thing. And again, it's your decision. Stand firm, do the right thing, Christ is with you. You're hurting someone, but you're not harming them. Yeah.
What if that person doesn't want the help that you provide?
No, but I'm saying you're not going to provide that help because you can't. Like,
Or
you need a
even-
professional to do it.
Or even someone else, like if you tell like a parent,
Yeah.
what about if they don't want like
All right.
that help?
It's just healthy boundaries, guys. You're not responsible to fix that person.
But isn't that your responsibility to like as a sister, as a brother and sister to like help that person?
Yeah. But how? That's the question, right? Are you going to help them by dating them?
No, but wouldn't you help, like, you even said it wasn't my, like, or someone's.
Christ himself asked the person, do you want to be made well? Not, he didn't heal them right away.
If she said, let's say the girl wants to commit suicide, God forbid, and she doesn't want help from anyone, and the people who work at like the psych unit at the hospital are not able to detain her and protect her from herself, which is like almost impossible, right? And she's just running wild, like in the snow, like she's gonna jump in the snow and die from freezing or something, like, and you can't do it. It's not your responsibility. What are you gonna do? Can you control people's decisions?
No.
You can't. You can't do it. Are you gonna change the fact that her parents were telling her she wasn't worth it her whole life? Are you gonna change that? All you can do is pray. You can tell her she's a great person. You can tell her it's not right for you. But what else can you possibly do? We have to a part of healthy boundaries is letting consequences play out. We pray for a person, but if we prevent them from the consequences, we're creating other consequences, right? That's why the church, someone can repent, but they still have to confess their sin, and they still have to return the money they stole back. They still have to go to jail, right? The consequences have to happen. And because the consequences teach us. So maybe her parents should have been better parents. It's not that you should have been a better boyfriend. And you're not going to change her parents. You're not going to change the years of damage that they've done. You can't, right? And what are you going to do? You're going to commit like virtual suicide of your whole life to help this girl? It's not your responsibility. God didn't call you to help that way. Imagine if God called us to help that way. Abunas would be married to like 500 people, you know? Like, God's not calling us to help that way. You help with freedom and truth and love and prayer and honesty, and you sacrifice, but you don't compromise who you are, and what the calling of Christ is for you. And if God wants you to help, He will equip you to help. Seek the ability and the strength to help from God, and He will give it to you. And you'll be surprised, by the way, how much they don't mean it when they really say they're going to commit suicide. But still take it seriously. But don't take it seriously by continuing to date them. Tell a professional.
Even in a not a healthy relationship, like, even if you still like her, what would you like the action you take? Even if like you're in an unhealthy relationship.
Wait, what's your?
If you're in an unhealthy relationship, what would you do? Even if you still like her, or like.
Oh yeah. So a lot of times what happens is if you in a healthy way distance yourself from the person and limit your contact over time, and you fill your life, because this is a question here, by the way, that like what do you do after you get out of it, right? That you have to fill your life. You erase, like you get it out and you replace with something that will fill your life, right? So if you fill your life with something healthy, over time you're going to find those feelings are going to go away, and that you're going to you might be better prepared for a person who's much better fitted for you later on. And you're going to see, I'm telling you, like, the idea of there's one person for each person is not true, right? Like, it's not like that. And it's just a matter of general compatibility and commitment and sacrifice in Christ. So that's what we want you to get towards. Yeah. And remember, guys, if God wants it to work out, He'll make it work out at the right time, and everything will be perfect, right? Yeah, Luke. Oh, because purity is modern day martyrdom. If you pursue purity, you will grow in your relationship with Christ and remove obstacles. Dating at the wrong time or in an unhealthy way is an obstacle to growing in your relationship with Christ. Is that clear? Yeah.
Healthy friendships and dating, and how there's a difference. So when does a healthy friendship turn into date? Like, at what point does walking turn into running?
When you start acting on your attraction.
Okay.
Yeah. And there comes a time when acting on your attraction is encouraged and recommended. Like, go for it, bro. Like, ask her out, whatever. But that's not the time now. Right? Right now, it's a time for understanding your attraction, understanding who you are, understanding where you fit into the world. And then you're more prepared to act on attraction. Is it all right? Can I just quickly, do you have a question? Can I quickly go through, because I don't want to favor people who raise their hand over people who like are a little more shy or want it to be more private about the questions. So just very quickly, so if people as young as in 8th grade take so much pride in having sex, how do we withstand that pressure? All the things that I mentioned about purity, like pursue those things. Pursue those things. And remember, as a few people have said, sex outside marriage is like fire outside of a fireplace. It'll just destroy, right? But within the fireplace, it warms and it's great. It's a wonderful thing to experience. So, and surround yourself with people who aren't having sex. That's another thing. How to distinguish between a great friend and a potential relationship leading to marriage. You don't have to distinguish that now. Distinguish it later. And the way to distinguish it later on is if you think there is an attraction, and when the right time comes, you ask the girl out, right? Or you bring up the topic carefully, like get some guidance and ask her out, right? But that's how to distinguish between a great friend and a potential relationship. You do it not now, you distinguish later. In terms of friendship, where are boundaries drawn in order not to mislead the other person and give them the wrong idea? Oh, like guys, just limit physical touch, right? Just limit that. Limit like the continuous talking, over for a long time. Try to share your feelings with a girl with the same gender before the opposite gender. But there's nothing wrong with having friends and seeking guidance from someone of the opposite gender. You know yourself. When you start feeling attraction, when you start acting on it, be careful. That's it. You're not a horrible person. You're just a normal person with attractions. But once you start acting on them, you start creating risks for yourself. Are we okay on time? Okay. All right, very quickly. So, how do you know when you find love? Okay, number one, you find it at the right time, right? So, the way a relationship from God feels is you find that it's greater than you, okay? That it's something that you couldn't have arranged the whole thing yourself. That it was something that you want to receive the man or the woman in your life from God's hands. And the only way to do that is to be with God, so that when He offers you something, you can take it. And the other only way to do that is that you are used to receiving what God offers you. That's why we have to grow in our relationship with Christ. So that God, you're used to taking from Him and receiving from Him and offering it back to Him. That's why in the liturgy we say, we offer unto you what is yours, right? You're used to that interaction with God, so that when He presents to you the right woman or the right man, you're ready to receive that person from God's hands. And if it's from God, you're prepared, because God does not put you in a situation that you can't handle, okay? So, and then also, there's so many other things. You're physically attracted, you admire each other, you help each other grow, you find many other things in your life are aligned, you feel a peace that surpasses all understanding. You find it's easy for you to sacrifice for this person. You find that during difficult times, you're still there. These are things, but all those, even the scenarios I'm describing, guys, you're not going to find them in your life now, but I just told you how you're going to find them. So I hope you got all that, because when the time comes, you're going to find it. All right, we got two more things here. Both speakers, please. Oh, that's like oh, okay. I guess this is like, well, I'm not going to ask someone to explain this to me or tell me who wrote it, but I think this is a question for both speakers, I guess. If I have a friend who is a relationship, and the person lied to me about ending to keep our friendship, how should I react? What should I do besides prayer? How do I approach this person without hurting them permanently? So if I have a friend who is in a relationship and the person lied to me about ending it to keep our friendship, how should I react? I'm really sorry, I just don't understand the question so much. But it sounds to me, I really don't understand the question. But it sounds like when the relationship ends, like thank God and move on. There isn't much that you need to repair. Repair outside of that relationship. Find repair somewhere else, okay? Talk to a close friend who, like, of the same gender or even of the opposite gender who you have a healthy relationship with. Talk with your father of confession. Talk with your parents if you're close to them, your siblings, pray, right? Guys, you know how like when people commit crimes when they're under 18, there's like this thing that happens like after you turn 18, all that stuff isn't counted? Like, as long as you don't like do all these physical scarring things, a lot of the emotional things, as you grow older, you will grow into like understanding them. So give yourself some time. Don't try to go and like fix the relationship. It's not like it's going to happen in the movies where the guy appears and it's raining outside and he doesn't have an umbrella and he's holding flowers and he says, I love you, and she runs back to him and all the relationship is fine and everybody's happy. It's not going to work out that way. It's not even raining outside anymore. So do we conform ourselves to love, to the person we love, or will love find us the way we are? Both, right? Love will change you, and you will, and love will come to you as you are, right? So that's why, remember when we were talking about the identity thing, and that at this point in your life, your identity is growing. You are growing in your love for yourself. You're growing in understanding who you are. Like, it's not the time to be talking, like giving a lot of stories, but like, when the right relationship comes at the right time in the right way, you're going to find that it ministers to a lot of your needs, okay? It's not going to meet them because only Christ can meet your needs, but it'll minister to many of your needs, okay? And so you will find that true love loves you the way you are without expecting any changes, but hoping for a change and encouraging for a change, right? So love changes you and love loves you. Is that clear? Like, it comes to you the way you are, but also through the experience of love, you become a better person. By being loved and by giving love, you become a better person. But again, all that stuff has to be in the right context. I think we're out of time. Yeah, one more question.
So if any of the youth or even some of the older students want to learn more about the topic of dating, the appropriate time, proper boundaries, like what are some books or resources that you can give some to the youth so that they can learn more about this topic, grow in it, kind of get a mature understanding of it?
Yeah, there's a book that is a little advanced, but I trust you guys can understand it because it really talks about a lot of like funny things, which is not funny like in a joking way, but just, you know, heavy topics. There's one book called Love, Sex, and Lasting Relationships by Chip Ingram, and it talks, the big focus of it is defining the Hollywood formula of love and then defining God's formula. And you'll realize as you start to read about the Hollywood formula, it's like, oh my gosh, like I have been so deceived. And I just heard, by the way, from a great, great young woman yesterday. She was telling me that she went to a friend's place to watch some TV show, and the TV show, like, and she doesn't watch TV very often, but she was watching this TV show, and it was showing like these two people like falling in love. And she was like, this stuff is not for Christians to watch. It was like, she had, by the grace of God, learned so much about God's formula that after a while, when she saw the Hollywood formula, after a while, she was like, whoa, what is this? Like, what is the world trying to teach me about these things? That book will help. There's another book called Boundaries in Dating. And then also, like, there's a few other books, but the thing is, guys, like, learning about dating right now is not as valuable, I think, as growing in your relationship with God right now. Like, in my age, like a few years ago, as I was like graduating from grad school, and I like my career was kind of set by the grace of God, I was like, I really wanted to be in a relationship. And I found myself like very unprepared. And so what I started doing was reading up on books, like challenging myself to like do things that I'm not used to doing, and going through all these experiences. And it ended up being such a great journey in my life there's many great people that I met and many great experiences that I had, and all of them are part of God's preparation for me. And I'm so thankful for all of them. No regrets, by the grace of God. So, one of the things I did was I read a lot of books. And there's lots of books to read on the topic. But it wouldn't have been okay for me, and I'm looking back on my life, it wouldn't have been okay for me to pick up all those books when I was like 16 and try to figure those out. The books that I did pick up when I was 16 were great for me, right? Like reading books by Pope Shenouda, reading, just reading the Bible, praying, there's so many other books I could recommend. I just don't have them all off the top of my head. But like, it's not, the dating stuff is gonna come, and I am so excited for your future if you grow closer to Christ now, for how great your dating life is going to be and your marriage is going to be. You're going to be so happy if you pursue Christ now and let him in his time, with lots of guidance and your readiness to start finding the person that you're going to marry. I'm so excited for that, because the experience itself is great, and you grow in your relationship with God. You grow as a person. You grow in your love for creation and humanity and so many things, right? Okay. Is that helpful? All right. Guy, yes? Yes? Okay, good. All right. Guys, it was a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me. Glory be to God forever. Amen.
I want to thank Maqar for a very exciting topic, and a difficult one at that, especially in our church, and almost stuff that we consider voodoo, or stuff we just don't want to talk about, in the Coptic church. We hope you can visit us again and give us maybe even just a follow-up lecture or talk on this topic as well. I know, does anybody have any further questions for him before okay? Jeannie had some, she was wondering if people were going to stick around. She may have had some stuff to do afterwards in terms of like fun stuff. If anybody was hanging around, just let us know, because we may have some more leisurely activities in the third building. But I think we're all set. Anything else for Gay? Okay, pre-servants tonight, 7 or 6:30? 6:30, Steve Solomon. He's talking about some exciting topics about the Bible and the origin of the Bible, and stuff that the pre-servants and the servants alike should be attending and hearing. And he's also a guest speaker coming from another church, so we definitely want all the pre-servants not to miss out on that. Okay, and basically Sunday the 29th, we're probably going to have a combined high school. Okay, so Sunday the 29th, we're going to have also a lecture by a guest speaker to continue this topic and to just delve into maybe it a little bit deeper. And, if there's any questions, this system, we can use, the little note cards again if people don't want to ask them verbally. And we can touch on those questions at that meeting. All right, great. Let's stand up for prayer, guys.
In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. We thank you, God, once again, and for the rest of our lives, for all the things that you've given us and blessed us with, for surrounding us with your church and your saints and this fellowship, and for giving us your body and blood. Please, Lord, bless our time together, bless this gathering, bless the service. Help us, God, to grow in our relationships with you, to seek first the kingdom of God and its righteousness. Please, Lord, prepare us for the gifts that you will give us, and help us to love you, Lord. And through the intercessions of St. Mary, the prayers of St. Mark, the saints of this day, and the blessings of the fast, hear us as we pray together, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespass, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us on temptation, deliver us from the evil. Christ Jesus our Lord, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory.